8:47. That's what the meal cost when 19-year-old Destiny rang up employee meal and fed a starving Korean boy counting pennies at 2 a.m. 18 years later, Min Jae Song, now the silent king of Chicago's underworld, had spent 6 years and bought 47 diners trying to find the waitress who saved his life. He'd kept a grease-stained napkin with a promise written in Korean for nearly 2 decades. And tonight, he'd walk back into Marion's diner where she still worked night shifts, still feeding people who couldn't afford to eat. Still completely unaware that the boy she saved had become the most dangerous man in the city. And he never forgot her face. But before we dive into how their worlds collide after 18 years apart, if you're new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button because we're building something special. Stories about love that transforms, kindness that echoes across decades, and promises that reshape entire lives. Now, let's go back to where it all started. Min Jae Song's $180,000 espresso machine hummed in a kitchen he never cooked in. Lake Michigan stretched below, endless and gray. He stood at the window naked, coffee growing cold in his hand, watching a city he owned in every way that mattered. The penthouse could buy 3 city blocks, heated marble floors, art worth more than lives. It felt like a tomb. His phone lit up. Daejung. Shipping confirmed. $12 million moved. Politician secured. He typed back. Good. $12 million. He felt absolutely nothing. 5 years ago, 12 million would have changed his world. Now it was Tuesday. He walked to his office, unlocked the bottom drawer. Inside, a napkin. Faded, grease-stained, disintegrating despite museum-grade preservation attempts. 4 Korean characters in blue ink that had outlasted empires. Babgab's 갚겠습니다. I will repay this meal. He touched it like other men touched prayer beads. Where is she? The answer was closer than he knew. And tonight, 18 years of searching, would end in the last place he'd expected, exactly where it started. Chicago rain fell cold in October, the kind that soaked through cheap jackets and never left your bones. Destiny Miller, 19 and drowning in student debt, wiped down Marion's diner counter for the 4th time. 2:47 a.m., 6 hours into an 8-hour shift, feet screaming, $47,000 in loans laughing at her from her phone screen. The fluorescent lights buzzed like dying insects, coffee burned, industrial cleaner stung her nose. The door opened. A kid walked in. 17. Maybe younger. Asian. Korean, she guessed. Soaked through. Clothes hanging off him like borrowed skin. His eyes moved like a hunted animal's, scanning exits, counting people, calculating survival. He sat at the far end, pulled out change, started counting. Destiny walked over. What can I get you? The boy looked up. His eyes were too old, ancient, haunted. Food, he said, accent thick as fog. Cheap food. How much? He gestured at the pile of coins. She counted without touching. 138. Not enough for toast. Not enough for water. She made a choice in that moment that would rewrite both their lives. She just didn't know the price yet. What do you want? She asked. His jaw worked. Anything. I eat anything. Destiny had been hungry before, skipped meals, stretched groceries, but she'd never been this. Counting pennies at 2 a.m. in a foreign country, hoping 1.38 could keep you breathing. She walked to the register, rang up employee meal. 0,0, grabbed a plate, loaded it, meatloaf, real mashed potatoes, green beans, 2 rolls, mac and cheese Marcus made fresh, a Coke from the fountain. She carried it out, set it down in front of him. The boy stared like she'd placed a bomb. How much? Employee meal. On the house. I know employee. Panic rising. English breaking. I pay. I pay something. You don't have to pay. Here's what she didn't know. In Korean culture, debt, especially food debt, is sacred, spiritual. He wasn't being polite. He was being bound by something deeper than gratitude. The boy looked at the food like it might disappear. Slowly, hands trembling the entire way, he reached for the fork. He ate like someone who'd forgotten what food was. She refilled his Coke twice. Didn't watch directly. Let him have dignity. When he finished, he tried to leave all 138. Destiny pushed it back. Keep it. You'll need it more than me. The boy stared at the coins. At her. At the empty plate. Thank you. Voice cracking. Thank you. Come back if you need food. He nodded. Walked into the rain. Destiny figured she'd never see him again. She had no idea she'd just created an obsession that would span 2 decades and reshape Chicago's underworld. He came back the next night, and the next. Always late, always alone, always counting pennies he didn't need, because Destiny fed him anyway. Day 4, she learned his name, Min Jae, 17. Came to America on a cargo ship. Men promised him restaurant, work. There was no restaurant, just labor and fear and running. Where do you sleep? She asked, refilling his water. Min Jae looked away. Places. That's not an answer. Safe places. Under. Behind. Jesus. Her chest hurt. You can't keep sleeping outside, it's getting colder. I survive. His jaw set. Absolute. I always survive. She believed him. Something in his eyes said he'd survived worse than Chicago winter. What she didn't tell him. She was stealing food. Lying to the register. Risking her job. She didn't care. Some things mattered more than paychecks. Day 8, Min Jae came in with a black eye. Split lip. Walking like his ribs were broken. And Destiny realized, whatever he was running from had finally caught up. Thursday, 3:15 a.m., 4 immigration agents. Badges, guns. Destiny was wiping tables when they crashed through the door. Everyone stay where you are. Her heart stopped. Min Jae was in the corner booth. His eyes went wide. Pure animal terror. He stood slowly. 3 exits. 4 agents. No mathematics that ended well. You. An agent pointed. ID. Now. Min Jae's hands went up. I know have. Then you're coming with us. Destiny moved without thinking. Stepped between them. Everyone said don't interfere with immigration. Don't lie to federal agents. Don't risk everything for a stranger. That's exactly why she did it. He's with me, she said. The agent's eyes narrowed. Ma'am, step aside. He's my cousin, from out of town. I have his ID at home. Then bring it tomorrow at the station. I can't. He has to catch a bus in an hour. Family emergency. Her voice stayed steady. Her hands shook. The agent stared. At her. At Min Jae. At the obvious lie hanging between them. Time stopped. Fine, he said finally. But if I see him here again, I'm running him. They left. The diner stayed frozen. Destiny turned. Min Jae was staring at her like she'd just stopped the sun from setting. You have to go, she whispered. Now, they'll come back. You lie for me. Of course I lied. Now go. He grabbed her hand, pressed something into her palm. A napkin, blue ink, 4 characters she couldn't read. What is this? Promise. Min Jae's English was breaking, emotions too big for vocabulary. I come back. I pay. I promise. You don't owe me anything. I owe everything. He looked at her one more time, memorizing, then he ran. Destiny stood in the empty diner, napkin in her fist, and felt something tear open in her chest. She didn't know she just watched a boy decide to become a king. 18 years disappeared like smoke. Min Jae survived the first winter, worked loading docks, fought when he had to, made connections in places people didn't look. Met the right criminals at 20, made his first kill at 22, his first million at 24. The starving boy who counted pennies became the man who counted bodies. The kid who slept under bridges became the silent king who owned them. By 30, he ran the 7 dragons. Crew, shipping lanes, port access. Real estate politicians pretended not to notice. He wore $15,000 suits and spoke so softly, people leaned in close just to hear him threaten their lives. He owned 17 properties, lived in none of them, and every single morning he touched a napkin and asked the same question: where is she? The search started 5 years ago. Systematic, obsessive, invisible. And it was about to end in the most ironic way possible. Min-jae bought Marion's diner first. The owner retired rich and confused. He kept it open, kept the name, placed his own people inside. She never came back. He bought 3 more diners, funded culinary scholarships for Black women in Chicago, hired investigators who asked questions without explaining why. His office wall became a monument to obsession. Maps, property records, highlighted blocks, red pins for purchases, blue for searches, yellow for dead ends, hundreds of yellow pins. Dae-young knocked, entered. We found 47 destinies in Chicago, ages 32 to 42. None worked at Marion's. Min-jae scrolled through faces on the tablet. Wrong. All wrong. Keep looking. Hyung, it's been 6 years. Maybe she left the city. She's here. How do you know? Min-jae touched the napkin in his pocket. Permanent. Sacred. I know. 3 days later, Dae-jung would walk through that door with information that would stop Min-jae's heart and prove that sometimes the thing you're searching for has been right in front of you the entire time. Dae-jung didn't knock, which meant good news or catastrophe. We found her. Min-jae's hand froze halfway to his coffee. The world went silent except for traffic 40 floors below. Where? Marion's. She never left. The words didn't make sense. What? She's still working there, night shifts, 18 years straight. We missed her because she uses her middle name now. Goes by Renee. Dae-young pulled up a photo. Min-jae's world tilted off its axis. There. Older. Exhausted. Beautiful the way survivors are beautiful. Standing behind the same counter, same diner, same kind eyes. Different name tag. Renee. She's been there the whole time? His voice cracked. The whole time. We own the place. She works for us. Didn't know it. Min-jae almost laughed. 18 years, 6 years searching, 47 diners bought. She'd been in the first building the entire time. Of course fate was this cruel and perfect. He'd moved heaven and earth searching for her. She'd moved nowhere, just kept showing up, kept feeding people, kept being exactly who she'd always been. What's her situation? He asked. Dae-jung hesitated. Not good. Single mother. Daughter's 15. Student loans never got paid. 3 jobs. Lives in Inglewood. Barely surviving. Min-jae's chest went tight. 18 years. She fed him when she had nothing. Still had nothing. Still feeding people. Still her. When's her next shift? Tonight. 10 to 6. Min-jae stood, straightened his tie. The napkin stayed in his pocket, warm against his ribs. Tonight, 18 years of searching would end. And Destiny Miller had no idea her world was about to collide with the monster she'd created. Before you find out what happens when they meet again, I need your help. We're on a mission to hit 1,000 subscribers, and every single subscription gets us closer to that goal. If you enjoy stories about second chances, about people who never forget kindness, please hit that subscribe button. And I'd love to know, where are you listening from? Drop a comment and tell me your city or country. Building this community means everything, and knowing where you all are from makes it even more special. Marion's looked exactly the same. Red vinyl booths, checkered floor, neon buzzing, the smell of coffee and grease and confessions. Min-jae sat in his Mercedes across the street. Engine idling, rain on windshield, hands shaking. He'd face down cartel bosses. Ordered executions without blinking, But walking into that diner made him 17 again, starving, terrified, counting pennies. Young sat passenger side, silent. "You don't have to do this," he said quietly. "I do." She might not remember. She remembered enough to keep working here. Min-jae opened the door. Rain hit cold. He crossed the street, pushed open the diner door. The bell chimed. Everything stopped. Not because people recognized him, because $15,000 suits didn't walk into Marion's at 11 p.m. on a Wednesday. The diner was half full. Truckers, night workers, insomniacs, and her. Destiny stood at the counter. She looked up. Their eyes met. Min-jae forgot how to breathe. 18 years. 6 years searching. And she was right there, 10 feet away, looking at him like he was a complete stranger. She was older, tired, hair pulled back. Name tag, Renee. Dark circles under her eyes that spoke of too many shifts and not enough wins. But her eyes were exactly the same. Kind, watchful. The eyes that saw a starving boy and fed him anyway. She didn't recognize him. Of course she didn't. He was a stranger in an expensive suit. The boy she saved was dead. "Sit anywhere," she called out. Same voice, exactly the same. Min-jae walked to the counter. Sat at the far end, the exact same seat where he'd counted 1.38 and hoped it could keep him alive. Destiny walked over. Order pad ready. Professional smile that didn't reach her exhausted eyes. "What can I get you?" Min-jae's throat closed. "Coffee." "Anything else?" "What's good?" She almost smiled. "Nothing, but the meatloaf's hot." The same meal, 18 years later, fate laughing at both of them. "I'll take it." Destiny wrote it down, walked to the kitchen. Min-jae's hands clenched on the counter. She didn't remember, didn't recognize. He was nobody. He'd built an empire to find her, and she didn't even know his face. The coffee came. She set it down carefully. "Food'll be up in 5. "Thank you," she started, to walk away. "Do you like working here?" The question escaped before he could stop it. Destiny turned, suspicion flickering. "Why?" "Just asking." She studied him. Expensive suit, expensive watch, wrong neighborhood, wrong time. "It's a job," she said carefully. "Long time to work one place." Her jaw set, defense mechanisms activating. "Look, I don't know what you're doing here, but if you're from the bank, or the loan company, or whoever's trying to repo my car, I'm not from the bank. Then what do you want?" Min-jae looked at her. Really looked. Still fighting. Still barely surviving. Still her. "Just coffee and meatloaf." She didn't believe him, but she walked away, and Min-jae sat there, the silent king of Chicago, realizing that all his power meant nothing if she couldn't remember the boy behind the monster. He came back the next night, and the next. Always late. Always alone. Same seat. Same meal. Same $100 tip she tried to refuse. By night 4, Destiny stopped arguing about the money. Started talking instead. Weather, traffic, the coffee machine dying. She warmed up slowly, careful, protective of her space. Night 7, 2 a.m. Diner dead. Just them. Destiny refilled his coffee without asking. "Why do you keep coming here?" "The food's good." No one drives a Mercedes for diner food. Min-jae almost smiled. "Maybe I like the company." She snorted. "I'm not company, I'm tired." "You work too much." 3 jobs. Daughter in high school. No choice. "What's her name?" "Why do you care?" "I'm asking." Destiny studied him. Suspicion, but something softer underneath. Curiosity, maybe. "Zoe. She's 15. She's lucky to have you. She deserves better. She has someone who fights. That's everything." Destiny looked away. Something in his tone caught her. Recognition trying to surface. "You sound like you know." "I do." "How?" Min-jae touched the napkin in his pocket. Someone fought for me once. Changed my life. He paused. Let the words hang. Waitress. Destiny couldn't sleep. She lay in her Inglewood apartment. 1 bedroom. Zoe asleep on the couch. Rain on windows. Something about the man in the expensive suit pulled at her memory. His eyes. The way he looked at the diner. Like he was seeing a ghost. Like he'd been there before. She got up. Opened the shoebox under her bed. Old photos. Report cards. Zoe's baby pictures. At the bottom, wrapped in tissue paper. A napkin. Faded. Grease-stained. 4 Korean characters in blue ink. She'd kept it 18 years. Didn't know why. Couldn't throw it away. The boy's face was fuzzy now. Too many years. Too many shifts. But she remembered his eyes. Remembered the way he looked at food like it was salvation. The man in the suit had the same eyes. Could it be? After 18 years? No. Impossible. The boy was probably dead. Or deported, or... Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. The meatloaf tastes exactly the same. Thank you for still being here. MJ. Destiny's hands started shaking. MJ. Min-jae. She grabbed her jacket. Keys. Didn't think. Just moved. Because if the starving boy had become the man in the $15,000 suit, she needed to know what the hell happened in between. Destiny burst through the diner door at 3 a.m. Min-jae sat at the counter, waiting. Like he knew she'd come. It's you, she said. Not a question, certainty. Yes. The boy. From 18 years ago. Yes. She walked closer, staring, searching his face for the 17-year-old underneath the tailored monster. You kept the napkin, she whispered. Min-jae pulled it from his pocket, held it up, faded, disintegrating, sacred. Every day for 18 years. Destiny's eyes filled with tears. I don't understand. You were starving, alone, and now you're... She gestured at his suit, the Mercedes outside, the weight of power around him. What happened to you? I survived. Then I got powerful. Then I spent 6 years searching for you. Why? Because you saw me when I was invisible. You fed me, lied to immigration, risked everything. His voice dropped. And I never forgot your face. Destiny sat down hard, tears spilling over. What did you become? She asked. And Min-jae knew the next words would either save or destroy everything. I run the 7 dragons, Min-jae said quietly. Destiny's eyes went wide. The 7 dragons. You're that Min-jae song? Yes. Jesus. She covered her face. I fed a crime lord meatloaf. You fed a scared kid who would have died without you. And he became a criminal. I became a survivor. His voice hardened. Then I became powerful. Then I became the only thing that could find you and protect you. Protect me from what? The diner window exploded, glass spraying inward, someone screaming, 3 cars screeching up, men with bats, one with a gun. Min-jae moved, crossed the space, wrapped around Destiny, pulled her down as the gun fired. Dae-jung and 4 men came through the back. Armed, silent, professional. The temperature dropped. The gunman's eyes went wide. Your song? The Silent King? Min-jae said nothing. Didn't need to. We didn't know this was yours, the leader stammered. We'll leave. You'll leave Chicago. Tonight. They ran. Destiny pushed at Min-jae's chest. Get off! What was that? Who are they? And Min-jae realized she'd just seen exactly what he'd become. The violence, the fear, the monster. 3 days. Destiny tried to leave twice. Both times, men in suits politely showed her photos. Credible threats. Gunshot trajectories marked on her youth center. Evidence someone had been watching her apartment. Day 4, she stopped trying. She found the maps by accident, Min-jae's office door open, curiosity pulling her inside. The wall was covered. Chicago neighborhoods, property records, highlighted blocks, red pins for purchases, blue for searches, yellow for dead ends. Hundreds of pins. In the center, Lincoln Elementary, Marion's Diner, her youth center, circled in red marker. Destiny's hand went to her mouth. I bought 47 properties before I found the right one. She spun. Min-jae stood in the doorway. You did all this to find me? Yes. That's insane. Yes. That's obsessive. Yes. He stepped inside. You saved my life when I was 17 and starving and invisible. You fed me, gave me your coat, lied to immigration, tied your kindness around my wrist and made me promise to survive. His voice dropped. So I did. I survived. And every single thing I built, every dollar, every property, every choice, was to keep that promise, to find you, to make sure no one could ever hurt you again. Most people would run from this level of obsession. Destiny felt something else entirely, the weight of being someone's entire reason for existing. I can't be that for you, she whispered. And Min-jae said the 4 words that would change everything. You already are. Before we continue, I need to tell you something. This story gets more intense from here. If you're invested, if you need to know what happens next, hit that subscribe button right now because what happens next changes everything. The pregnancy test sat on the bathroom counter 20 minutes before Destiny could look. Positive. Her hand shook so badly she dropped it twice. They'd been careful. Mostly. Except that night after he'd stopped 3 men from breaking into the youth center. After he'd come back with blood on his knuckles and something broken in his eyes. After she'd pulled him into her, and they'd collided like 2 people trying to prove they were still alive. Oh God. A baby. With a crime lord. The bathroom door opened. Min-jae froze. What's wrong? He was beside her instantly. Are you hurt? Destiny pointed at the counter. Min-jae looked, went completely still, then dropped to his knees. My air, he whispered in Korean, voice cracking. My blood, my heart. His hands moved to her stomach, gentle, reverent, shaking. This changes everything, Destiny said. Yes. I need you to promise me something. Anything. She grabbed his face, made him look at her. Go legitimate, all the way. No more syndicate, no more violence, no more being the silent king. Silence. That's not simple, he said carefully. I don't care. Our child will not grow up in that world. If you want us, if you want this family, you leave that life behind. Her voice broke. Or we're done. Min-jae pulled her against his chest, buried his face in her hair, and whispered the word that would cost him $40 million and reshape Chicago's underworld. Okay. Going legitimate wasn't clean. It was surgical, brutal, expensive. Min-jae spent 6 months dismantling an empire he'd spent 15 years building. Shell companies dissolved, shipping contracts transferred, properties sold or converted. Money laundered backward until it looked legal on paper. The 7 Dragons became a holding company, then a development firm, then a foundation. The violence receded slowly, like a tide that didn't want to leave. Dae-young stood in his office one final time, resignation letter on the desk between them. You're really doing this? Yes. For her. For them. Min-jae's hand rested on the ultrasound photo. 12 weeks. Already loved more than anything he'd ever owned. Dae-jung nodded once. Then I hope she's worth it. She is. In Korean organized crime, leaving is death. Min-jae didn't leave. He transformed. Bought his way out, paid everyone off, made himself too valuable alive and too expensive dead. It cost $40 million to become boring. And when Min-jae Song disappeared and Min-jae Park emerged, investor, philanthropist, legal, Only one person knew the truth. The waitress who'd saved him was now saving him again. The Rainier Valley Youth Center reopened on a Saturday in September. No politicians, no cameras, just neighbors. Kids. People who remembered when hope felt possible. Destiny stood at the entrance, 8 months pregnant, glowing, greeting everyone. Deep purple dress with gold threading, beautiful in hers. Min-jae arrived quietly. No guards, no entourage, just him in a dark suit with the napkin still beneath his watch. When Destiny saw him, her whole face changed. "You made it. I told you I would." She took his hand, led him inside. The center was transformed. New paint, new equipment, art by neighborhood kids, commercial kitchen. Library donated anonymously. Everyone knew that meant Min-jae. An elderly woman approached. Mrs. Patterson, 60 years in the neighborhood. "Mr. Park," she said carefully. Min-jae braced himself. "Thank you," she continued, "for not being what we thought you were." Something in his chest cracked open. "I'm trying. We can see that. Keep trying." 3 months later, Min-jae would hold his daughter for the first time and feel something he'd forgotten existed. Peace. They married in March. City Hall first. Then a gathering at the youth center for everyone who mattered. Reformed criminals stood beside church aunties. Dae-young showed up in a suit. Brought a gift. Stayed for cake. The red napkin was woven into Destiny's bouquet. Frayed. Faded. 23 years old, still holding. When Min-jae said his vows, his voice stayed steady until the end. "I spilled blood to come back to you, but you taught me what to build instead." Destiny's hands tightened around his. "You kept your promise. Always." The kiss tasted like salt and relief, and 23 years of waiting. Their daughter was born in May. 7 pounds. Perfect. Loud. They named her Maya. Illusion in Sanskrit. Because sometimes the best things feel too good to be real. Min-jae held her in the hospital room. This tiny human who'd rewritten his entire existence and felt something he'd forgotten how to feel. Peace. "You're crying," Destiny said softly. "I know. The Silent King is crying over a baby. The Silent King is dead." Min-jae looked up. "This is just me." 2 years later, they discover that some cycles aren't meant to break. They're meant to evolve. 2 years later, late night at Marion's diner, Destiny found Min-jae standing by the fence in the back garden. Not rusted like the old one. Clean, decorative, a memorial to where it started. A boy stood on the other side. Maybe 8, too thin, clothes that didn't fit, watching the center like he was deciding if it was real. Destiny started forward. Min-jae caught her hand, shook his head. They watched. Maya, 3.5, fearless, approached the fence with a sandwich. "You hungry?" The boy stared. Maya pushed the sandwich through the chain link. "It's okay. I already ate." She hadn't. Destiny had watched her save it from lunch. The boy took it, shaking hands. Ate like the world might change its mind. Maya untied the ribbon from her hair, red, just like her mother's, and wrapped it around the fence. "So you remember someone cares." Then she ran back inside. Min-jae's throat went tight. Destiny leaned against him. History, repeating. History, evolving. She learned from the best. The boy pocketed the ribbon carefully, looked at the center one more time, disappeared into the Chicago evening. Somewhere in the city, another story was beginning. Another hungry child, another act of kindness, another promise being planted. 20 years from now, that